Got my own money, I'm good on my credit. Need someone real who can fit my aesthetic. Bills ain't no issue, I earned every dollar. Don't play with this.
Are we recording? Yes, we're recording. Hey, you guys, this is Precious, the owner of I'm Worthy, which is catered to mental health advocacy and emphasizing the importance of mental health wellness. So, you guys, I have been dreading recording this video solely because in order for me to even start my interview process, I have to tell you guys my story, right? I am currently at work. I'm on break. And I was like, let me go to my car to record this. Not that I'm ashamed to record it in the office, just more so, just in case I start crying, I'll be able to have that privacy to do so when telling my story. So I actually created a couple of questions. And before y'all come for me and be like, girl, that's ghetto. First of all, yes, I did take 2 pieces of printing paper and I stapled it on different sides so the marker wouldn't bleed through and it can, be back and forth. Don't like y'all teachers didn't do that back in the day, print out a piece of paper and fold it and turn it to booklets. Like y'all, 90s babies, y'all know what's up. Y'all that's younger than that, y'all may not know about this struggle, but yeah. Anyways, so a couple of these questions, they are a bit intense or considered quote unquote deep. If you know me, you know I like to ask those type of questions to get to know the person who I'm having a conversation with, just to get to know them on a deeper level. So the first question is, how did you discover you had mental health unwellness or issues? This is the story that started all. So I am currently 26. I received my diagnosis like 15, 16 years old. If you don't know, I'm from Scotland County, also known as Lawrenceburg, North Carolina. So basically what jump started my mental health diagnosis, I was in a toxic relationship, and at the time my family nor friends, no one knew I had lost my virginity. So the partner I was with, he and I had issues, and it transpired to this big public breakup. It was very embarrassing. So now it's plastered on social media. At that time, Facebook was the quote unquote, popular social media app that people were utilizing, especially in my hometown. So everything was plastered on Facebook. So at this point, my mother that didn't know, my father that doesn't know, my cousins and sisters, everyone now knows what is going on with me. And it became such this big fiasco that it actually became violent. So it was just a mess, okay? And your girl was stressing out. So I went from being like the quiet friend, and quote unquote everybody is assuming I'm innocent, right? But I always had a keychain my mom gave me. She didn't give it to me, I chose it. She had to, and I chose it, and it was like, I'm not as innocent as I look, right? So I been had this keychain, so I kind of already, kind of let people know, like, I'm just the girl. Like, take it easy on me. A lot of people had a lot of negative things to say. I was in a relationship with that gentleman. They basically backdooring me to lay up with him. Like, I said, okay, they're offering a shoulder for him to cry on. So, his can be so they can basically be his professional equestrian. That's basically it. So it was just a lot for me to just accept like everything that was going on. I'm like, dang, not only I lost my relationship in such this chaotic, tragic way, everybody I don't know and I don't interact with now knows my business. I'm being called a whore, a cheater. I'm like, well, I wasn't the only one that cheated, but I digress. It was just a lot for me. And yeah, I had older sisters, but most of my sisters weren't, living in the house with me at that time. So my sister Shaquana that I'm like this with now, she was in college. Crystal was caught up with her children, and Toya was, living her life out of town at that time. So it was mostly me and my mother in the house at the time. And she was working so much. Like, I think she was working 2 jobs at the time. So she was constantly going, especially with doing insurance. So she was constantly on the road. And it was like that for a while. And I'm going to say something that may trigger you guys. So be careful. Be cautious. Not be careful, but be cautious. My mother apologized to me for not being there how I needed her to be for me while I was going through a vulnerable moment, and when I was having symptoms of mental health unwellness but couldn't pinpoint it. She apologized to me. I know some of you guys may not be, used to hearing that, but this melanated woman, me, was apologized by her melanated mother. Okay? Back on track. So, next question is, did you previously seek professional assistance, and do you utilize it now? So I did previously seek a therapist. That's how I was able to acquire my first diagnosis, of course. And honestly, that kind of encouraged me to not really seek therapy with that first experience, with that first therapist I've ever had. And I'm in high school, so I'm like 15, 16, and it completely turned me off from it, to the point that I did not utilize therapy again until I got to college. So graduated 17, I was 18 going into college. So I didn't, utilize therapy again until 18, 19. Yeah. And do I still utilize it now? Yes, I do. And I am currently 26. I know I don't look it, but yes, I am. Yes, I am. I did utilize it and it was good. Were you previously medicated, and are you currently medicated? I was previously medicated. I cannot remember the medication that the lady prescribed to me. All I know is my experience with the medication was just terrible. Like, when I say terrible, I mean to the point where I wanted to visit the self-checkout line multiple times. And this kind of ties back into me basically not being too fond of that provider at that time. I mentioned to her and my mother during a session, I still remember this vividly, that day. And my mother was sitting next to me, and I told her, I said, I don't want to keep utilizing that medication. It's making me have, self-checkout thoughts. And I also was on birth control. So, it could have been those things, mixing my hormones. It just wasn't mixing together. And I told her, like, hey, I can't keep taking this. I'm like, if I keep taking this, I don't know if I'm going to physically be here to, continue on with these therapy sessions with you. And she was like, it takes longer for the medication to kick in and start, showing progress. I said, I've been on it for 2 weeks. If it's not showing me nothing in 2 weeks, I'm not about to keep going another 2 weeks, because I know for certain if I keep taking this, I'm not going to be here within a month. I'm not. So I'm not going to do it. So it was just very dismissive of my concerns for me, for my life. So I just, and the whole medicated stigma towards it, it's just so, do what works for you. And what works for you may not work for others, period. In the end of the day, none of us are perfect. All of us have our own flaws, and all of us have our own challenges that we have to overcome. Mine is just mental. Yours may be physical or spiritual. I don't know. But for me, medication does work. I am on Lexapro. It does help calm my anxiousness. So it works for me. And no one can tell me anything else besides that. And I had to become very firm and assertive when it comes to, hey, this works for me. That may have worked for you, but we're not the same people. So we're not even going to do that. Anyways, next question. What was your initial diagnosis? So my initial diagnosis at 15, 16, it was general anxiety and depression disorder, right? That was it. However, now your girl has severe anxiety. severe depression, and PTSD. How did that occur? Another story time for you guys. So, for those that do know, if you know, you know. So, my father passed away when I was 19. So, this is my sophomore year in college, spring semester, right? And I failed that semester, okay? And I notified my professors, right? Only two of them were lenient and tried to assist me with passing those courses. The other two didn't give a damn. They were just like, you just have to take summer courses. Bitch, my daddy just died. Are you serious? Anyways, before even coming in sophomore year, we had found out his diagnosis. And my intuition was telling me, like, go home. Like, before spring semester even started, something in me before Christmas break ended was like, stay home, go home, be with your daddy. And I couldn't put my finger on why my intuition was telling me to do that. So at that moment, like, I'm not knowing if it's my anxiety playing with me, my depression. I'm like, maybe I'm just overthinking. It was my intuition, y'all. My intuition. And I didn't trust it. And for the longest time, I could not forgive myself for not trusting my intuition and being there for my father, because it was like, they always say when you become older, like, it shifts. The vulnerability level shifts between you and your parents. And they need your assistance. They may need you to advocate for them and things such as that. So when he passed away, a lot of things I wasn't aware of growing up regarding his family's distaste for my mother, it basically trickled down. So a lot of things in my childhood that I like put in the back of my head, but I remembered, just comparing me and my cousins or comparing me and my siblings to each other, how we looked, facial features. I look just like my daddy. Keep that in the back of your mind. But yeah, so just a lot of things that just start making sense. And I was like, why do they always want to put their hands on me? Why even when I was innocent, they didn't care. They just wanted an excuse to demean me or just be mean. You know, everybody got a drunk uncle. Drunk uncle will always say some off the wall stuff to me. And I remember vividly, he was like, oh, who your daddy? And da 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 da. I'm like, what? Trying to be funny. And I advocate for myself, and some of my cousins and aunts was like, oh, that's still your uncle, da da da, don't disrespect him. I'm like, he's disrespecting me. Like, what are you talking about? And just looking back on stuff, I'm like, yo, I'm so glad, like, you did advocate for yourself to some extent, even though it wasn't to the fullest capacity which you wanted to. You did it, and I'm glad I did, because looking back on it, I'm like, I already have enough wounds that I am healing from that I didn't give to myself. So it's like I can only imagine how more deeper those wounds probably would have been if not infected, had I not done that or started solidifying that foundation of advocating for myself at a younger age. Even in midst of adults that should be defending me or protecting me, I did it for myself. So I was like, dang, my knight in shining armor is gone. And now I'm seeing that the dragons he was protecting me from came from his family. I remember before he passed away, he always said, like, oh yeah, this car right here is yours. And yeah, you're going to have this amount of money for my insurance policy. Like, he just always told us that way before even getting sick. The day of his funeral, I noticed that his car, that was for me, it hadn't been cleaned or moved even before his passing. So I'm seeing that it has now been washed and moved. And I'm like, oh, snap. Okay, y'all clean this car. That's nice. Like, what's going on? Obviously, my other siblings, they're so fixated and caught up in grief. And, of course, crying and mourning our father, that they're not paying attention to everything that's going on. I'm also hearing other people saying, oh, motherfuckers going to be mad. Motherfuckers going to be mad. And I'm like, who? Like, what? Like, y'all not paying attention to what they saying what's going on? or is it just me? So I've always been considered the paranoid friend or whatever, because like my hearing is on it. Like I lack this, but I pack it in this. So I'm like, hold on, something ain't right. Like something ain't right. I'm not feeling this. Y'all, your girl was going through some shit. Okay, I gotta pause this. I'll finish this when I get home. So I'm like, what's up with these people? I'm like, yo, something ain't right. Something's not right. But I couldn't put my finger on it because obviously I don't know everything's going on, right? So I remember at the funeral, we just kept getting looks. My sister had a speech she wanted to say. And in the speech, it did basically admit to our dad knowing that his siblings did not care for her. But what she didn't know is his siblings did not care for us entirely, but especially her, myself, and our mother. Fast forward, I ended up finding out, well, we all found out that his insurance policy, the big one, all the insurance policies were changed. And we're like, what the heck? Like, what? They were changed like 2 weeks, to be exact, 15 days from the day he died, right? So it's a lot of corruption in Scotland County, if you didn't know. The lady who changed his insurance policy was a friend of one of my aunts. They had personal phone calls. She told my aunt, if you think he's going to die, he needs to come up here and change the insurance policy. It'll only go through and be complete if he at least lives within 14 days. You know, within those 14 days, my dad was throwing up his bowel, was denied proper pain medicine. I didn't know. You know, when you become older, and they always say, as you age, your parents do too, right? And the responsibility and vulnerability, it switches. You then become more responsible to your parents as they, become more vulnerable to the world. I'm not gonna do it. I just didn't know. I didn't know. And I didn't know. And I didn't know that he was in so much pain that he had began to feel suicidal. And he called my mother and my sister Shaquana to retrieve a gun from him because he was ready to go. And I did not know. So when I found this out, I was so pissed off at them. I was so pissed and livid because I'm like, had y'all told me that, I would have went home because I was already in my head about not going. My intuition was already eating me up. So I was like, damn. The one time this man has always been my knight in shining armor, the time I could have been there and protected him, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. And it ate me up for years. Years. Accepting that. Because I didn't know. But my intuition told me and I didn't listen. So, wait, oh, sorry. Get back on track. Yeah. So, I didn't know how much disdain and dislike they had for myself and my siblings and my mom until, we're in court. And one of the aunts that I grew up in, people always gave her compliments like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful just like you. And she smiled ear to ear. When I was on my first menstrual cycle, I was at her house. She helped me, right? This same woman and some of my other aunts and some of my cousins came there to the courthouse, got on the stand, and I'm watching them commit perjury and say, oh, we always knew they weren't his children. We just loved and accepted them because he loved their mother. So we accepted all of them. Are they freaking serious? Oh, they were never married. Y'all were there. You took the pictures. Your name is signed as a witness. Are you serious? So I'm literally watching them in real life time disown my father's lineage. Me and my sister Shaquana especially. And I'm looking like, I look like y'all. So just all that's happening, right? I'm 19, right? 19, 20 at this point now. And like not too shortly after that, my older sister Crystal was at our grandfather's house, which my dad was staying with them, making sure his parents were okay, right? So I hadn't seen my grandfather now. It's like it's been months, and she's just talking to him. He was sitting in his chair under the tree he planted years ago. That was his favorite spot. That was his spot. So we pull up, myself and my sister Quana were in her car, and we're just talking to him like, "Hey, granddad," gave him a big hug. So one of my other aunts hadn't spoken to her. She comes out. I'm not speaking to her. I'm not even acknowledging her existence because I'm trying to be respectful and keep it cute. So she's upset at the fact I'm adamant about not speaking to her. And she's like, "Oh, you're not going to come in this yard and not speak." And I said, "I have nothing to say." And I gave my granddad a hug, and I'm trying to walk out the yard, right? She then says to me, "Bitch, you ain't going to come back in this yard and you're not going to speak to me. Da-da-da. Bitch, if you think you bad, step your ass in the yard." This is a 60-year-old woman saying this. This is like 2 weeks after my birthday, 2, 3 weeks. So I just turned 20. She's cursing me out saying this to me. Okay. So I step in the direction of my granddad. I'm like, okay, I'm about to give him a hug and dip. I said, "All right, granddad, this is my last time being here because I'm not going to do this." They then put a no trespassing sign up in the yard and all that for us. And I had to stop and get me some tissue. The camera died. But I was able to plug it back up so we can get back to where I was. Yeah, so, okay, where I left off. Oh, yeah, so I stepped back in the yard towards my grandfather that moment, and I'm like, "All right, Grandpa, I love you. I'm not gonna come back here." And before I even get the chance to get to him, my aunt like bum rushes me, slaps and starts scratching me on my neck and my arms. When I find those pictures, I'm gonna insert that here. And the cop that came, nice white guy, he was real cool. And he had body camera footage on. And he told me, as well as reported it, he was like, she was very disrespectful, calling all types of little bitches. And she was like, "Yeah, I was about to fuck her up." It was a lawnmower blade on the table that she told him she was going to use on me. And they were like, "Yeah, they were trespassing." Da, da, da. And I said they because it was more than just her that was out there saying that, making false accusations. And he told them straight up, "You said her father was living here paying bills for years. She has every right to be here more than anyone else." I said, "Thank you, let him know." Like, when I found out, I was like, "Thank you, let him know." He was a real one. I like him. He was very respectful. I hope he's still working there because he was one of the very few cops I actually can say was a good guy. But yeah, so long story short, she pressed charges against me. I pressed charges against her, and we were just going back and forth to court. Right, my legal counsel, which I should have actually obtained my own personal legal counsel instead of depending on a court appointed attorney, because guess what? He was full of S. Yeah, I still remember you. He kept continuing my case because he was having private conversations with my aunt's attorney. I remember him. They were in cahoots. Continuance. That's all I kept hearing. And literally, the very last, like the Friday before court, that Monday, that's when he began trying to subpoena everyone for my case. I'm like, "Are you freaking serious?" Then that's when he wants to subpoena my granddad. That was a witness that was yelling, "Stop! Leave that girl alone. Get off of her." That's when he decided to subpoena my granddad and try to guilt trip me. "You really want to have your own grandfather on the stand?" Yes, I do. I want everybody that's seen it there. I wanted my sisters there. They didn't call them until late Friday, like shy of 5. Yeah. Then they attempted to subpoena the officers. This is the last continuance. So this is like what I want to say. This is October or something. Because it got continued 3 different times, right? It was a mess. So he tried to subpoena the 2 officers that were on the premises, and they didn't get an answer because guess what? They had then switched to third shift. So they weren't even able to even attend it. But he was willing to, and he literally told me, he said, hey, you can have him subpoena me immediately. I gave him all the names, the time frame. Baby, I gave him everything. I gave the attorney everything he needed to subpoena everyone to go ahead and get the ball rolling. So by my first continuance, the new date, that everything would be handled. No, he kept continuing it until the very last time. And I forgot that melanated queen's name. But she came through for me. You talking about, she's the reason why I found out that the officer's shift has switched to third versus first and what it originally was. Because she got in contact with their supervisor, the officer that was, I guess, in charge of their team. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but she spoke to them and basically confirmed to her, like, hey, they're on third shift now. So, unfortunately, they were unable to do it. And at that moment, I think they had told me that officers' body cam footage is only good for 30 days. I asked him to subpoena it after the incident occurred and we went to court, meaning I had ample amount of time to get it within 30 days, but he waited and waited and waited until the evidence was gone. So, yeah, 0 out of 10 experience. So at that moment, that's how all my diagnosis became very severe. Because now I'm like the family I know for 19, 20 years, that I'm under the guys that loves me, loves my siblings, loves my father. Don't give a fuck. Like, it's like when I put him in the ground, I didn't only bury him, I buried his family with him. And it's like I didn't know how traumatized I was by the situation until someone was trying to date me around the time my dad's passed, shortly after, on it or whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't dislike dogs, but I dislike animals that interrupt what I'm doing. I remember I said to me, I understand you and your family going at it, you and your aunts and cousins and stuff, but in the day, that's your aunt, that's your family, like, and they're your elders, you got to respect them. Boy, shut the fuck up. I said, oh, you don't know how turned off I am right now, but you're a cut. Did I say it to him directly? No. But as soon as he dropped me off home, that man never heard from me again. Yeah. Baby, I looked at him like, what you just say? I looked at that man like Diane looked at Celine when he said what he said about her dating. Baby, I gave him that look like, the F you say? Baby, the way it switched off, I said, yeah, wrap it up, take me home. Instantly, done with him. So that's the background and lengthy story about how my diagnosis is now very more severe than what it initially was. Shout out to those dockeries. You did a number on me. But also, I can't even solely blame them because I'm going to blame the court system down here. I've been diagnosed of having mental health unwellness since 15, 16. I was able to receive aid to acquire my college education because I qualified for the vocational rehabilitation program. Why? I don't have any physical disabilities. Mentally, I do. That's my challenge and struggle in life. And it's documented. Been documented for years. And y'all did not come to my aid and help me at all. Are you serious? I had people telling me, adults, understand your dad passed away. Life moves on. When I tell you, hearing those words a couple times, I understand your family worked hard, but you gotta get over it. I understand that people you don't know, they were able to make false accusations about my character, and I never met these people. Legally, it's documented. Court records. Look up the case, you'll find it. Never met them people a day in my life. A day in my life. Never had any interactions. Never heard of my father having any interactions in relationships with these people at all. When my dad talked about me and my siblings, he talked about us with the utmost respect. He praised how intelligent we were. He praised how beautiful we were and how we carried ourselves and how we were very assertive and how loving we were. My father never called myself nor Shaquana greedy. Food wise, yes, we'll tear a food plate down real quick. Don't get it twisted. But when it comes to money, finances, selfish, never, never. Even while she was temporarily paralyzed, Kwana was still putting people before her. So what are you talking about? Selfish? Financially? When it came to my dad's finances, who do you think he'll turn to? In his last days, he didn't turn to us. He turned to his family. And the lady that was over his insurance. Mm. Anyways, you know what's ironic? Some of those people that spoke on me and my sister negatively, they have close relationships with his siblings. The same siblings you say that don't like us, clock it. Yeah. So the hatred I began to develop, it was just out of this world. It was unworldly. I hated my hometown. I hated his family. And the ironic part was I'm in criminal justice. And I'm constantly writing and talking about the injustice in the system and how people are corrupt and how sometimes people turn a blind eye or they don't want to discredit somebody because they've known them for years and they've known of them being a good person personally. Personally. How a person acts one on one versus how they act in a business setting are two different things. Two completely different things. I was failed greatly. Could have been protected but wasn't. I wasn't. So my love for law, it basically went out the window. I did what I needed to do to get my degree, but how my heart was set on going to law school after graduating, it completely would just diminish. Because I was so burnt out from trying to keep it together that it was a wrap for me. And I know some people were like, girl, you didn't use that as motivation to keep going. I was broken. I was broken, but I was keeping it. I was keep I was keeping my faith in myself to keep going, to persevere, because I was like, I'm not gonna let these helpers win. I'm not gonna let these people trick me out of not graduating and making my promise like my dad made me promise him before he left. I told him I was gonna graduate on time, and I did with honors. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. And with an English minor. And all the honor societies that I was offered the same year he passed away that I didn't join. I joined junior and senior year. I came back with a point to prove. my sister, my mother really encouraged me to attend summer school the semester after he passed away. That's really what got my head back in the game, to go to school and do what I need to do. Because she seen me just wanting to sulk and just be depressed. And I just wasn't motivated. She said, you got to go, baby. You got to go. And I was like, I don't want to go. She's like, no, you got to go. And I had a great summer session. So it made me back motivated and encouraged to go to school. But yeah, so when people look at me and they ask, did you get one at Dream? I did. Like I said, some people would have took them being disappointed by the justice system as encouragement and motivation to keep going. To me, that was a nail in the coffin. Like, life was already difficult enough. Like, accepting the fact that half of you doesn't even care for your existence. They already mark you off as being non-existent. So, like, what do y'all want me to do? It was just a lot for me to grasp. And we didn't even get a chance to grieve because we jumped straight into court shortly after he died. So it was literally like no time to grieve, no time to process, nothing. Like, you just got to keep going. So I was so filled with hatred and anger, to the point that I hated when people would see me and tell me I look like them. One of my aunts had a husband that worked at the school, right? And it took me a while to come back around him and accept the fact that he didn't play a role and try to separate him from his wife's misdoing. So I tried my best, right? And I remember I'll come see him, and it got to the point I stopped seeing him again because people would come up to me. Oh, you look just like his wife. And I'll quickly say, I look like my father. That just happens to be his wife's brother. And I'll tell him, you have a great day, and I'll walk off. The sad and ironic part people don't know about that is when you develop that type of disdain for somebody, it's hard to even accept or be comfortable with someone reminding you of something like that. So when my dad passed, I was so elated that I had his features, right? Like, no matter what, I can look in the mirror and I can still see my daddy. It got to a point where I did not like looking in the mirror for a good minute. Like, I would look in the mirror and make sure I was okay enough to go out, but like stare in the mirror and really embrace and be infatuated of what I was seeing. No, I was not doing it for a good while because I would look in the mirror and be so filled with frustration. Keep hearing from different people, oh my gosh, you look just like, please shut up. Don't say I look nothing like them. I don't want no associations to those people at all. At all. Stop comparing me to them. Like, I did not like seeing myself in the mirror for a long time for that reason. For that reason especially. Like, y'all keep, imagine you telling somebody that is being emotionally abused that they look like they're abusing. I don't want to hear that. Like, I did not want to hear that. So I wasn't the nicest person. People, when they'll tell me that, I'm like, what? Like, bro, shut your mouth. Like, nobody don't want to hear that. Okay, I'm back. But that's how my current diagnosis came to be about, due to all those events occurring. What coping mechanisms and activities do I utilize now, and what did I utilize then? So what I used to do, exercise, I love dancing. So Oh, what year was that? If you didn't know, I wasn't Clariana Gillis. Her dance group DTF, everybody thought was down to, it wasn't down to freak. It was definitely damaged the floor. And she needs to get all of us together. Because girl, I can still fit my shirt. I still got it to this day. To this day. But yeah, just really exercising, doing different forms of exercise. So some dancing and things such as that. I never shy away from any form of dancing. Anything that's more so quote unquote urban like, that is my lane. Painting and drawing, I utilize that a lot. Journaling. Sometimes I would actually write my thoughts out, or I would set up my phone and I would actually record myself venting, or I'll just type it in my notes depending on how I'm feeling, or what's accessible at that moment, and whatever's best for me to do at the moment. That's why I do. However, now I find myself just praying more. I bought myself a daily devotion Bible, which poses questions. I'm going to insert a picture of it in this video too, but I find myself praying more. So I'll answer the question that comes with the scripture in my daily devotion Bible. I'll read that, or sometimes I'll just read a book, more so a book that my psychiatrist referred for me to read. That's part of my homework that I have to utilize before meeting with her. I want to say next week or the next 2 weeks, something like that. I find myself falling in love again with just exploring different things in my childhood that I didn't get the chance to complete. So I do currently have back spasms that I'm still dealing with. So I'm really hoping that they subside very quickly and very soon. Solely because I want to enroll back into gymnastics. They do have adult gymnastics in the area which I reside. So I'm excited to do that. I've actually been taking a couple dance classes. So if you don't know Jamil, yeah, I've been doing his class. And what else have I been doing? I've just been embracing nature a lot lately. Just making sure I hang out with my friends, making sure I just have self-care days, whether that's getting my feet done and take myself out to a restaurant I haven't tried yet. What else? I'm trying to think. Oh, I do like to write poetry. So sometimes I just let the words flow and I just write out how I feel. And that's really been helping me. I've been finding myself getting back into painting and doing arts and crafts a lot more. I've been wanting to explore pottery as well as getting back into doing soap making. I already have my soap making kit. I just have to just start utilizing it, and yeah, as well as what else? I'm looking around my apartment to see what else. I was cooking and making desserts heavily. I'm finding myself wanting to get back in the kitchen and desiring and looking up different recipes to try and utilize and make. And I don't know, I'm just kind of all over the place, and I'm just loving it for me. I'm just not forcing myself to just try one thing and focus on one thing. I'm giving myself time to just explore different spaces that genuinely make me happy, and it's been a great feeling. Uh, okay, next question. Has your mental health unwellness ever ruined or negatively affect any of your relationships? Okay, so firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the romantic stuff out the way. So let me see. Okay, we're still recording. Yeah. Okay, so I'll say within my past relationship and just men attempting to date me or whatever, and men I have dated, I say everyone believes that they are equipped to handle someone that has mental health or wellness. I believe a lot of people become infatuated with how someone's exterior looks, and once they kind of know, oh, she has a good heart, oh, she's a great woman, that they begin to forget that, hey, I made you aware that I have mental health and wellness that I deal with, that the woman I am now is not going to always be, you know, the same year round. Like, I go through my stuff just like you go through your stuff. But I know the type of love I give, I can accept and receive. So in these situations and circumstances, it's not that I wasn't accepting of the love they were trying to give me. It was just they weren't trying to give it how I needed it. It was just a disconnect, the shortest terms. It was just a big disconnect. It was just like, oh, you aren't the same woman I fell in love with. I said, because I'm versatile. I have different sides of me. I have different seasons I go through things, right? Just like you. You're not the same 24/7, 365 days within the year. You change. You're not the same person I was falling for. Well, who I was trying to grow in love with. So, yeah, some people I don't think are really equipped to what true partnership requires. It's definitely give and take, of course, but also like loving somebody who has mental health and wellness is not easy. It's not. But love is a choice. And I can now say that they didn't choose me. They chose parts of me to love, but me entirely they didn't. So, did it ruin some relationships? I would say yes, but I was, you know what, let me retract. I wouldn't say it ruined relationships. I'll say more so it just helped weed out the relationships that weren't stable enough, those that weren't solidified enough, those that were supposed to be long lasting. So it worked out in the end. Now, platonically, not too many relationships I would say I regret allowing my mental health to ruin, except one. So I hope she don't feel no type of way about me saying her name, but Miss Panky, come to the flow right now. So Miss Dayshell. So that was the only relationship I can say in my 26 years of living that I allowed my mental health to ruin, because me and her were like ride or die for each other. Though I met her, you know, through dating her brother, her and I developed our own sisterhood, right? Like, even when he wasn't around or in town, she'll hit me up or I'll text her and, hey girl, you want to come stay over? And then me and kids. Yeah, girl, I'm on the way. Like, that was so rude. But you know, don't mind them. Like they riding their bikes and stuff. And trust me, like if I had the money to get a bike, I'd be on one too. But back to the story. So if I had a man to hit a bike, I'd be on the back with him. Okay. If you don't know my childhood, baby, yeah, that's. Anyways, I remember. She had her second baby, Adonis. He looked just like her. I don't care what I say. I remember I took him home. I remember that, and I remember I stayed the night with her at the hospital for one of those nights. He should only stay one night. Y'all. Like when I tell y'all that was my girl, that was my girl. So even when our relationship with her brother ended, her and I were still in communication. The only reason why our relationship like just ceased to exist, it was because of me. So when my father passed away, I really wasn't talking to anyone. And I am putting Vaseline on my lips. Sorry, I just can't put the brand in the frame because you know ain't no free promo, baby. Vaseline, I use y'all a lot. Call me. So yeah, when my father passed away, I really was like not really trusting people, and I really wasn't talking to nobody. I was so depressed that literally for me, a week will pass, right? In my head, it's been a week. It's been 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks to a month. I'm thinking it's only been a week. A week, maybe 3 days. But yeah, like a week will pass by, and I would not know that a week had passed by. I would not know. And it got to the point where I'm thinking, okay, it's been like a month, 6 weeks since I last talked to you. No, it's been half a fucking year. Like I'm using those examples to tell y'all that's how my days were moving for me. And that's when I know, like, it's been damn near a year since I last spoken to her and basically everybody from down home, except like my mother and my siblings. Like at that time, like I wasn't talking to nobody. Like unless you were in my face, like my friends at school, nobody was talking to me. Nobody was getting access to me. No one was able to talk to me. It was none of that. Like it was none of that at all. Like I swear to you, it was none of that. And I remember when I did see her and speak to her, and she was like, Precious, I was trying to reach out to you. She was so mad at me. I was like, girl, I'm sorry. She was like, no, like, why did you do that? I said, I didn't want to talk to nobody. It wasn't against you or anybody personally. And I was like, even at that time, anybody that knows me and QK, thick as thieves since middle school, like, met her 6th grade year. That's been my girl since 7th grade. I wasn't even talking to her. You talking about QK pulled up on me at my house. At my house, and made me come outside and talk to her. And I still remember what this ever said to me, and I was like, girl, you crazy for real? She was like, Precious, like, I was gonna cut your hair because I know you love your hair. Like, if you was gonna cut me off and end our friendship, I was gonna cut your hair. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with this crazy chick? Like, what you think you was gonna cut my damn hair? She was like, because I know you love your hair and it's important to you. I said, okay, we both just would have been bald. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I know you didn't think I was gonna let you get away with that. I wanted to try friendly ways anyway, so I would have been pissed, but I still would have been cute. But yeah, we both would have been bald in the story. Like, but I knew she was frustrated because I've never done nothing like that where I just went MIA, not talking to nobody, not answering nothing. Like, I was really on social media, like, it was just crazy. And yeah, that's the only friendship I would say it ruined. I'm trying to think. No, that's really it. I can say as far as negatively affected any of my relationships, when we came out, I'm a stigma woman, baby. Wait, is my stuff on right? Okay. Okay, well, never mind. My pillow's messed up. But yeah, baby, yeah, very much SU. Don't play with me. So, y'all, don't mind me. Oh yeah, I'm just a girl. My hands is cold because I turned the system off so y'all can hear me better, and I am freezing up in here, especially my hands. So we came out 2020, and same year we graduated, girl. No graduation, no probate, no nothing. Like, boo, COVID. Oh, anyway, so we came out and we weren't close with the bros at the time, right? So many things I was invited to, right? My line sisters, by some of my pro fights, by some of the bros, and make them aware of my mental health. No one just knew how crippling it was for me. Like, it would be to the point I could not be sober to attend the event. I had to get prepared before I went, or else, like, if I'm driving by myself to go there, I'm in the car crying my eyes out, like giving myself a prep talk before I go there, even if it's around like a handful of people, like say it's 10 people in the house, whatever, on some chill stuff. If I don't know everybody, even if I know everybody here, if I don't, my anxiety is through the roof. I'm trembling, like I'm really trembling, like I'm cold, like I'm having my body's full of chills, trembling. Like that's how anxiety stricken I would be. And sometimes my chest would get tight, sometimes it wouldn't, but my heart beat will be beating out my chest, like going erratic. Like it just wasn't a game. And it still happens to this day. Like even when I'm like about to head home for family events, before I go there, be around my family, I have to do a couple deep breaths. I may have to cry a few tears to go and get it out my system, and then I'm able to go in front of them and be around them and enjoy myself. But I think it's more so also like the fact that I'm putting myself in a position to be around people that may or may not hurt me. And it's crazy to say it like that, but it's just the God honest truth. Like, I just accepted, like, you know, most of my hurt and pain came from people that claim to love me. And I really just accepted that that's mostly how my life may be. Because the type of pain I've experienced with burying my father, burying my oldest brother at like 7, about to be 8. What? Birdie died in 2006. So I was about to turn 8, so 7. And then father passing away 19. The domino effect that happened when my father died, Jesus. Like, like I basically buried a whole lineage when he passed. So that's a different level of pain that no one can fathom. Hey, boo. Where are we going? Where are we going? February is going to be here before we go. Girl, I ain't know where you was going with that. I said, Lord Jesus. Wait, give me like 5-10 minutes. I'm recording this video for YouTube real quick, and after I finish, I'll call you right back. Okay, I'm about to text you back right now. Sorry, y'all, that's my girl. Coy, you gotta make sure she okay. So I missed out on a lot of opportunities to show up for them because I just couldn't push through. Like, I just couldn't push through being in my head or having panic attacks that intensely. And, you know, it just became a repetitive thing. Like, damn, first, you're not gonna come to this? You're not coming to this? And I'm like, I can understand, like, their point of view of, like, damn, like, you keep missing out on stuff. Like, do you even really, you know, care about us? You really support us for real? And it's like, yes, I love y'all. I do want to support you. But this this whole anxiety and pressure got me is so strong right now that I'm damn near about to have to make a stop at the hospital before coming to try to support you, because I'm freaking have a heart attack because I can't calm down from this panic attack. And yeah, so some of them, like, our relationship could have been strengthened had I been more attentive and supportive when I had the opportunity to, but because I wasn't, I mean, it makes sense for our relationships to be negatively impacted, and it explains why we aren't close. But, you know, I can't fault them for that, because at the end of the day, I did wish that they were more understanding and more willing to comprehend my perspective as well, instead of just writing it off as in, you're just making excuses, and you know what excuses are. Yeah, I know what excuses are. And I know what a clown does with his foot if you keep playing with it. Has it prevented you from acquiring new relationships? Yes, my mental health unwellness has prevented me from acquiring new relationships, because some people, they do come in my life and they are very transparent and wanted to be vulnerable with me. And it's difficult for me to really accept that not everyone has a agenda to be a butthole or is mischievous like that, but still it's like I kind of got my guard up. And it's like when I do see signs of people being on BS, I'm kind of like, this is familiar. I know this. So, like, for me, it's like sometimes I'm trying to figure out, like, is this a reoccurring lesson that God is going my way to see if I'm evolving or revolving? I don't know, but I don't know. Just kind of, ugh. So I am kind of standoffish, but I'm not fully closed off. But it has played a role, because there are some women that did meet me and want to get to know me further. But because I have depressive episodes or whatever, and I kind of close myself off. I do make them aware of that, but some people can't handle that. They feel like, oh, you're ignoring me. You're not wanting to interact with me. And I'm like, it's not even what you're making it out to be. But I understand if you want to discontinue this relationship, because like I don't have the fight in me to, no, please stay. Don't leave me. I'm just like, you know what, okay, girl, like, okay. Like, not even just okay, girl, just, that's something I just say, period. But I'm just like, okay, like, at this moment, you've already made your mind up that you're not believing anything I have to say. You feel like what I'm saying is BS, and you feel like I'm giving you excuses. So no matter what I say, you've already made your mind up. So who am I to basically, you know, put a door stopper under the door to prevent you from leaving? No, I'm a lady, but I'm also a gentleman. I'm gonna hold that damn door for you. Maybe not today, maybe not this address. Maybe we'll meet in another disclosed location. TBD. Okay. Did you ever have a moment of not believing in the benefits of therapy? If so, why? So I previously stated I had my moment of not believing in the benefits of therapy when my first therapist was very adamant about me continuing the medication that she prescribed after I told her I wanted to be at the self-checkout. Also, I didn't mention this, but she kept trying to tell me what my root of my issues were versus what I was telling her. Oh no, your issues are not with your peers picking on you and all your business being plastered on Facebook and you going through this breakup publicly and people that were once your friends and quote unquote family members disrespecting you and going behind you to sleep with them, and now you're about to be involved in all these altercations. No, that's not your issue. Your issue is you and your mother's dynamic. I'm like, me and Shorty right now, we bumping heads a little bit because I'm coming into womanhood and she's saying some stuff that's frustrating me and she's not trying to comprehend my perspective and she's believing adults over me. Yeah, we have our regular mother and daughter issues, but baby, she's not the source of my issues. I'm telling you what the source and root of my issues are. But she was just so dismissive. So I was like, yeah, wrap it up. Get me away from her. Y'all, I'm so pissed because I think another portion of my videos stopped recording a while ago. Next question. Did you ever feel you were dealing with your diagnosis alone? Yes. So prior to my diagnosis and after, I still had family members basically insinuating that I was lazy. They didn't believe me when I said something wasn't okay with me mentally. So it caused me to isolate. So I did a lot of self-isolation and I wouldn't come back around people until I felt like myself and I was just being the quote unquote theatrical, dramatic person I typically am. So sometimes I do feel alone, but I can say this go around, I don't have to be. But where I needed her most. And also my siblings at that time and family members that I did attempt to talk to, they didn't give me a listening ear. And if they did, they will reiterate my business to somebody else. And I'm like, why would you do that? So then that made me more closed off even more because I'm like, I wasn't even comfortable or ready for me to even share this with this person. So why would you feel the need to tell them? So it just made me feel very isolated and closed off to the point where I became accustomed with if I'm dealing with something, I try to handle it myself first. And then if I cannot weigh the burden, I then will ask my village of people around me to help me. And the irony of that is my dad always told me, you let your pride get the best of you. He said, you the type to suffer in silence and then ask for help. He said, well, you need to learn to ask for help first before you get this low. And he used to always say that about my car. But the beauty in that is that same message can apply to other things in life. And yeah, so next question. Before I go back to that, I touched on, I said no one believed me. And it just became a reoccurring thing that still to this day, I realize it's a bad habit that since no one believed me, when it came to things I needed for myself, when I did try to advocate for myself, it's now second nature of me to ask other people's opinions before I go do what needs to be done. When I first needed glasses, my mother and other family members did not believe that I needed glasses until my teacher, I want to say Miss DeBerry, shout out to her, girl. That was my girl. But it took an appointment, and also my teacher advocated for me for my family, like, oh snap, she does need glasses. And it just became a repetitive thing. Like, oh snap, oh, you do need therapy. Because another adult advocated for me. So unfortunately now, till this day, I still find myself having moments where before I do something, whether it's for my business or for myself personally, at times, not all the time, but at times I ask for a second opinion before I do it, knowing that I already know the answer I want to hear and already knowing what I want to do for myself. I still second guess it until I hear another adult's opinion. Like, my words aren't good enough. My opinion isn't good enough. That's what I developed, unfortunately. So I'm still working on myself to get over that. Like, girl, in the day, what you think and what God thinks, that's what matters most. Everybody else's opinions, just like booty holes. We all got one. Some are more clean than others, though. Wink. Anyway, so do you feel supported? Yes, I definitely do feel supported now. The village of people I have around me, especially women. I've always considered myself a girl's girl, but now, like, I have women around me that are beautiful, confident, well educated, and we're all in like different career paths, but we're all motivating each other to be the best version of ourselves, to strengthen our relationship with God, and just to overall become better women, period. And it's so great to be here because I've always wanted that sense of community, and I've always known I deserved it, but actually having it now, it's just great. Like, from my line sisters to my biological sisters, the sisters I've acquired through years of friendship or just genuine and pure friendship, I love those women down. Like, the men I have in my life, I love them down too. Like, the guys I call my brothers, like Debo, that's a good man. Jalen, those are my guys, okay? Those are my guys. I love those dudes down, okay? Shout out to the good bros. Love my Omega men too. But those women though, it don't matter what I have going on. Like, if I was to call them and I'm going to do something, and if they're not at work and they can't answer, they are going to pick up the phone and they're going to listen to me. If I need to text it out, they're going to respond back to me, make sure I'm okay. I feel like if I was to go MIA and not say nothing to them for like a week or something, they're going to pull up on me because they have my location. I'm like, girl, what is wrong with you? And one of my girls, she has my spirit key to my house, so I definitely feel like if I was to do something like that, she would definitely pull up on me real quick. With some of my other friends, because they do not play that. Because how I know? Because we put up on our friend Caleb. Me and Tika put up on Caleb the same way with the spirit key. We didn't use it. We knocked first, and if she won't go answer within a certain time span, we didn't hear no response. We gonna go up in there like, "Girl, you good? Okay, don't play with us." Um, how has my diagnosis affected me? It definitely has altered the projection of which I thought my life would be at this moment. I did expect my business to already be launched. I am currently launching it. It has been launched for the past couple months this year. Apparel is coming soon. We will have apparel posted on the website. I also plan for my relationship with God to continue to improve and grow, for my mental state to continue to improve and grow, for my physical health to continue to improve and be strengthened. I can say my diagnosis definitely has made life a bit more challenging. But like I said, we all have our own challenges and trials in life that we have to overcome. Some people have it physically, I have it mentally. So, has it affected my personality? No, I'm still very quote unquote theatrical. I still am childlike. I still like childish things. Other day, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was running in the rain, and I'm really hoping to pray it rains again on Friday or something, so I can run in the rain and record myself and basically post it like live life freely, enjoy the beauty that God basically bestows to us and presents to us. Just embrace it. I still love like I've never been hurt. So I definitely have developed a certain sense of resilience